Alright, so House of the Dragon Season 3 just wrapped up. And this season was a really mixed bag for me. There were absolutely some moments that were awesome. You gotta love the dragons, right? They definitely looked great, especially Dreamfire. What a cool dragon design. Although it really did suck to see them fighting and get hurt. The penultimate episode and the finale were definitely my favorite parts of the season.
I'm alive!
The curious and puzzling thing though is what they've done to the main characters in this season. I'm someone who only has a very cursory and high-level familiarity with the source material. I haven't read the books, and I'm still undecided if I want to read them, since the overall story will probably never be finished. So I totally get how this season, and the overall show, could be a letdown for fans, with how much they've deviated from the source material. I don't have that same investment and context. But I was somebody who was really positive on the show, and especially the Blacks after Season 2. However, Season 3 completely flipped me. And it's not like I'm against Rhaenyra taking a heel turn in the show, to becoming Rhaenyra the Cruel. It's just that the way this season makes it happen comes across more as contrived, forced, and rushed, rather than a tragic and compelling character arc. Maybe it's cause I was Team Blacks through Season 1 and Season 2, but the show really focused on Rhaenyra and her relationship to the throne, and seemingly why it should be hers. The series is clearly positioned and written from a female empowerment lens, perspective, and thematic throughline. But with how the women are depicted in this season, it makes a strong case that women just aren't fit for the throne.
What did he say?
Rhaenyra is consistently depicted as incompetent this season, making the wrong decisions once she's in power, being overwhelmed, emotionally distraught, short-sighted, and alienating her allies. It really reminds me of Dany in Season 8. Again, I'm not someone who was against the end result for that character, but the narrative methods and quickness it used to put her there was really off-putting and did not feel earned. So for Rhaenyra in Season 3, I think there was plenty of potential to take her on a tragic arc to Rhaenyra the Cruel. Instead of depicting her as erratic, irrational, and reactionary, I think it would have been better to show that Rhaenyra has some cunning and tact, and an affinity to rule. But then maybe as the weight of the problems of the realm amass, and adversaries to her claim arise, she steadily makes the more severe and cruel decisions. Show her with some intelligence and justification for her actions in making the right but tough decision, instead of giving us so many wasteful soap opera scenes.
You are a Hightower to my court. You are the enemy. And to you?
And then with Alicent, girl is such a bad mom, consistently throwing her kids under the bus and using them as chess pieces for her own gain. Guess it runs in the family, right?
Just get it over with, will you?
I've heard that her presence and involvement in the plot at this point in the books is basically non-existent. With how wasteful and tedious her scenes are in this season, I think the show should have just followed suit and basically cut her out. There is just too much of the Rhaenyra and Alicent relationship in this season. As I mentioned earlier, I've basically flipped to the Greens, and ultimately am more interested in Aegon's claim to the throne.
Behold me now! I am Aegon Targaryen!
I liked his redemptive character arc in this season. The show is really well acted, outside of the screen cancer Mysaria is.
In my image, Your Grace, have I ever counseled you to do aught but what Viserys would have you do in his place?
Shut up, bitch!
But Aegon's performance is the standout and highlight for me. Ormund was also a solid villain in this season. A bit mustache twirly at parts, but I ultimately liked his role in scheming in the plot. His ending was hilarious and satisfying. Just wish the show would have spent more time developing and showing how he's attained such secretive influence in King's Landing. As is common in the world of Westeros, the good, noble, and worthy of the right to rule are not long for the world. They took my boy Jace away in episode 1, and now I'm somewhat allied to Daemon and thinking that he would be a good king. But because of that, he's probably gonna be another character that gets killed off. Still, I'm cautiously interested in what his storyline will look like in Season 4. Roddy the Ruin was awesome. He's so great in the finale. Would have been even better to have more of him throughout the season. Now, I found Corlys was really mishandled this season. There's a moment that sticks out like a sore thumb.
Lord Corlys.
Your son Jacaerys lived and died a bastard!
I recognize that from somewhere.
Her children are bastards!
The show conveniently cuts away from the conversation when there's no way that it ended there. It was really bad for Rhaenyra and Corlys to end that scene so abruptly. And then also to have Corlys basically give up on his desire to legitimize Alan and Adam, and then also abandon his role as the Hand, was really stupid. Seems contradictory for a character who's so determined, hungry for power, and bound to a code of honor. Daemon also has some good moments in this season, particularly in the latter half, but there's also times where his decision, and maybe more so his indecision, just doesn't make sense. How and why he allows the traitorous Mysaria to live for so long completely baffles me. And even more so, all the stuff with Rhaena was completely annoying. But that's how it was for most of the season. There were some really solid payoffs in the finale, but then also a ton of the details, moments, and attempts at character work in the rest of the season were a bit of a chore to get through, and riddled with contrivance. And that's the gist for my thoughts on House of the Dragon Season 3. This is still a dour show tonally. I find the world interesting, but I'm not entirely invested in the characters and the story. I do have some desire to watch Season 4, but it's really just to see things through. Aegon as an agent of chaos is pretty much the last thing I'm rooting for. What did you think of House of the Dragon Season 3? Has your enthusiasm for the show waned like mine? Hit me up, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll catch you next time on The Gist.